Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Amherst. I'm Reverend Michelle Buhite, and I am the minister of this congregation. We are so glad you have chosen to worship with us this morning. Please see our website, uuamherst.org, to find the weekly update and also just to check out our website and see what's going on. For members and friends of UU Amherst, be reminded that our annual meeting will be held over Zoom at noon today. See the recent email for instructions for tuning in. And now, a very special announcement.
Hello, friends and family from UU Church of Amherst. It's Kim Connolly coming to you live from my home. And I just wanted to share with you a couple of thoughts. First, I want to talk very briefly about our Regional Summer Institute. I've talked with you about it before. It's something that Reverend Michelle introduced to our congregation, and our family has been going for a good number of years now. I'm going to share my screen so that you can see the exciting opportunity that's happening this summer, where Summer Institute is moved online. Summer Institute is going to be called Summer Institute. I know it's just a bad joke. But anyways, it's going to be a marvelous week. It's going to be July 12th to the 17th. And we'll start with, for those who are registered, with a quick email every morning that will offer you a variety of ways to stay connected, including a unique reflection for each day from the ministry team. And then there will be amazing spaces to build relationships. Everyone will be able to be part of a Circe circle that will meet at times from starting in the morning until late at night, like really late at night because there are some night owls. You'd find a circle that would work around your time frame to connect and think about the themes. It would be really marvelous opportunities every evening to connect and engage at dinner and in evening programming, doing really fun stuff, coffee house type things, gathering type things, learning together type things. It's a wonderful, wonderful experience. Let me tell you another reason I'm so excited. There are some really excellent things. We're going to be talking about sanctuary. We're going to be talking about courageous love. Each day we'll have a theme. We're going to be talking about relentless tenderness. We're going to be talking about belonging and interconnection. You know what? That's another thing that I want to come back to. Belonging and interconnection within our space. Even if you're not going to be going to Summer Institute, which, by the way, I didn't go to tell you, but they've got a sliding scale fee between $25 and $125 for the whole week, depending on what you feel that you're able to do. So it's a really great opportunity to connect and have a wonderful space full of great Unitarians. But we're also, in our own congregation, which is a part of our Central Eastern region, we are connected. And so belonging and interconnection is something that I'm going to be sending more materials on and talking about doing restoration. I'm also going to be talking a little bit about restorative work in Sunday afternoons, well, this afternoon when you're watching this, in the annual meeting. So look for a brief announcement in the annual meeting about some restorative work. I hope to see you there. And if you want to know anything about Summer Institute, find me. I'll send you, tell you stories, show you pictures, laugh with you about some of the fun things that have happened there, and talk with you about why it is such a meaningful experience and build so much on the amazing community that we have here. And so it's a blessing to talk with you via my computer screen, and I hope to see you in Zoom or wherever after, and definitely at the annual meeting. Thank you so much.
We begin our time together by lighting the chalice. The flaming chalice is the symbol of Unitarian Universalism, the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of our commitment to bring more justice and compassion to a hurting world. May the flame we ignite burn brightly in our hearts and shine through our lives. It's been said that Unitarian Universalism is the religion that puts its faith in you, trusting each individual to engage in the spiritual journey and to reach our own conclusions about spiritual matters. We do that in beloved community as we support one another in faith and friendship. In that spirit, this congregation has created a covenant, a sacred promise of how we will strive to be with one another. Please join me in speaking the words of our covenant. Together we promise to gather in compassionate community, to celebrate diversity of thought and unity of spirit, and to seek wholeness for ourselves, our children, and our world. At this time, our Director of Faith Development, Angela Warren, will share with us a time for all ages.
Good morning. Our time for all ages this morning is The Blessing Seed, a creation myth for the new millennium, written by Caitlin Matthews and illustrated by Allison Dexter. In the beginning, God sang everything alive. God sang the sky, the land, and the seas. God sang the plants and trees. God sang the moon, the sun, and the stars. God sang animals to live in the sea, in the sky, and on the earth. Then God, mother and father of all, sang of man and woman. God said to them, "This earth is your garden. The rocks, plants, trees, and animals are your family. Go and explore your home." The man and the woman thanked God. They greeted every stone, plant, tree, and animal. They learned what each living thing could do. The man and the woman found a tall tree in the middle of the garden. It had 4 paths leading away from it. "What is this for?" they asked God. God said, "That is the tree of life. On it grows the fruit of knowledge, but it isn't ripe yet, so you mustn't eat it. The 4 paths are ways to explore this world. When the fruit is ripe, you will be able to walk them all." The man and woman sat together and watched the stars grow bright in the sky. Then the woman said to God, "Everyone in the garden has their special gift. The squirrel can jump, the snake can crawl, the bird can fly. What is our special gift?" And God answered, "In all the world, you and the man are most like me. You have a special duty. You will care for everything on earth. Your special gift is to learn and to care." "How will we do that?" asked the man. "Listen for the song that I sang at the beginning," said God. "My song is in everything, and it will help you to learn and to care." The woman listened to the song of the tree of life. It sang a song of laughter, a song of tears, a song of beginning, and a song of coming home. She said, "Maybe I will understand our special gift if I eat the fruit." She picked the fruit and tasted it. It was sweet and bitter, soft and sharp. As she swallowed it, things began to change. She felt like a cloud looking down on the land far below. The birds, trees, animals, and rocks felt far away. She shared the fruit with the man. When he tasted it, he felt different and frightened. "Why did the animals run away from us?" he cried. God came that evening and said, "You're frightened and upset. Have you eaten the fruit of the tree of life?" The man said, "We did, and now the animals hide from us. We don't understand what's different." The woman said, "We ate because we wanted to discover our special gift." God smiled and said, "I made mountains to last forever. I made flowers and trees for beauty. I made birds, fish, and animals for their many gifts. But I made human beings for their longing to know. It is time for you to explore the 4 paths. Come." And God led them to the tree of life and showed them the paths. The 4 paths are called the path of wonder, the path of emptiness, the path of making, and the path of coming home. These 4 paths of life will help you to learn and to care. On the path of wonder, you will remember when you were sung from the earth. When you see the moon and stars at night, or the sun sparkling on the water, when you hear birds singing in the trees, when you hear the song of creation, then the gift of caring will be born in you. On the path of emptiness, You will remember when you ate the fruit and felt different. When things go wrong, when no one understands you, when you lose the things you love, when you feel sad, lonely, or frightened, then the gift of learning will be born to you. On the path of making, you'll remember that the song is inside you. When you have good ideas, when you make something beautiful, when you tell stories and sing my song, then the gifts of learning and caring will start to grow. On the path of coming home, you will remember that you are part of everything. When you look after the earth, when you defend the helpless, when you speak for those who have no voice, when you enjoy and respect my creation, then you will be most like me. Your learning and caring will shine out everywhere. You will be separate no more. Must we leave our home and all we love? Cried the man and the woman. All places are your home. Everything I've made is your family, said God. Must we leave you? Cried the man and the woman. I will always be with you on your journey, God promised. Will we really find the gift of learning and caring? Asked the man and woman. God said, yes. You ate the fruit of the tree of life before it was ripe, but the seeds of learning and caring will grow inside you. And God blessed them both, saying, I will ripen your gift as you walk the paths of light. Your gift will be a blessing seed. It will leap from your hearts into the hearts of others. Go now and spread my blessing throughout the earth. The man and the woman thanked God. They walked out into the wide world, taking the blessing seed in their hearts.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be whole. May we be whole. In our Time for All Ages, Angela shared a variation on the Genesis creation story. In the traditional story, Adam and Eve are punished for eating from the tree of knowledge, driven out of paradise, and forever separated from their Creator. In today's retelling by Caitlin Matthews, eating from the tree of knowledge is not the root of original sin. It is the seed of original blessing. God celebrates humanity's curiosity and leads them to the four paths that lead to the tree of knowledge and emanate from it. The paths of wonder, emptiness, making, and coming home. These paths are gifts to teach humanity how to learn and care. They are pathways to compassion. This message that we are interconnected with the beauty and the fragility of all life is fundamentally different from the exploitive and extractive story of sin and separation found in Genesis. The story of the blessing seed sings a new creation in us. We know that all origin stories attempt to answer the big questions. Who am I? Whose am I? Why am I here? Where am I going? What does it all mean? Origin stories, like birth narratives, are written retroactively to answer the question, how did we get to this moment? We've observed what happens when one's origin stories are based in a story of separation and subduing the earth. We are living with the effects of this story, where the earth is a nifty thing God made, but is not holy itself. In the blessing seed, God tells the humans, the earth is your garden. The rocks, plants, trees, and animals are your family. When the humans give in to their curiosity and eat from the tree of knowledge, they are not cast out of the garden with an angel armed with a fiery sword to guard the gate. They are invited to partake of the 4 paths of awakening. Let's examine these paths and see if we can find resonance with the path of learning and caring that we are on in Unitarian Universalism. In the story, God says, on the path of wonder, you will remember when you were sung from the earth, when you see the moon and stars at night, or the sun sparkling on the water, when you hear birds singing in the trees, when you hear the song of creation, then the gift of caring will be born to you. The path of wonder reminds me of the first source of Unitarian Universalism, direct experience of transcending mystery and wonder, which moves us to a renewal of the spirit and an openness to the forces that create and uphold life. It is our first source because it is our earliest way of knowing and understanding the world around us. Long before we learn religious teachings or can apply the scientific method to our wonderings, we experience beauty, and it connects us to all of life, to something deep within us. The path of wonder moves us to an openness to the forces that create and uphold life. The second path is the path of emptiness. In the story, God tells the people, you will remember when you ate the fruit and felt different, when things go wrong, when no one understands you, when you lose the things you love, when you feel sad, lonely, or frightened. Then the gift of learning will be born in you. The path of emptiness reminds us that we are not alone in our shortcomings and disappointments, our fears and our sorrows. The path of emptiness is the birthplace of compassion and empathy, from which our Unitarian commitment to justice and equity blossoms. The path of making is filled with creativity and storytelling, weaving together the gifts of learning and caring and giving them form. This is the path of history and legacy, appreciating those who have gone before us by upholding what they lived and died to do, and making a commitment to live our lives in such a way that we become worthy ancestors for those who will follow us. Finally, on the path of coming home, we remember that we are a part of everything. When we look after the earth, defend the helpless, speak up for the voiceless, and enjoy and respect the beauty and miracle of all of life, we are living into our birthright with learning and caring, understanding that we are not separate. We are a part of all of it. The seventh principle of Unitarian Universalism is probably the most beloved and the hardest to live into. Too often we leave out a very important verb that begins this principle: respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. We have to do more than believe we are part of all existence. We promise to respect that interdependence and the web that makes it possible. We respect the web by the choices we make. In a world that is based in consumerism and the endless cycle of acquisition and waste, truly respecting the interdependent web by our actions is an ongoing challenge that our faith calls us to undertake. In the story, The Blessing Seed, God shows the humans the four paths and then blesses them, saying, "I will ripen your gifts as you walk the paths of light. Your gift will be a blessing seed. It will leap from your hearts into the hearts of others. Go now and spread my blessing throughout the earth." Four paths of wonder, emptiness, making, and coming home lead us to compassion, to a deep knowing that everything is connected. They are the paths of awakening. Let us live in peace. Let us live in inner peace. Let us weave our dreams together. The four paths of wonder, emptiness, making, and coming home lead us to compassion, to a deep inner knowing that everything is connected. They are the paths of awakening. I describe my own spiritual journey as a path of awakening. Awakening to myself, to the nature of humanity, to the potential in the divine, and the interconnectedness of all of life. For me, the spiritual journey is like a labyrinth. Each of us moving in different lanes to our own rhythms, catching sight of others and then turning away again. Like the labyrinth, we are drawn to the center, but we don't stay there. We return to the path. We keep moving. I think that Unitarian Universalism has the potential of being a pathway to awakening. We affirm an openness to our own direct experience of mystery and wonder, as well as an appreciation for teachings from world religions and how those teachings can inspire our ethical and spiritual lives. I describe our approach as syncretistic, a word of my own making, that combines syncretism, a fondness for borrowing from other religious traditions, and fantastic. Often the label of syncretist is meant as a put-down, of picking and choosing the good stuff without true adherence or discipline. I can see that. But I also know from my own journey that some ideas and practices simply resonate with us. Just be respectful and mindful in your borrowings and stay away from appropriation and religious colonization. My friend Joe recently reminded me of a story from Buddhism. The story goes that after his enlightenment, Siddhartha Gautama, the historical Buddha, was walking down the path when he met a fellow traveler. The other man perceived a great radiance emanating from Siddhartha, and instead of asking, "Who are you?" he asked, "Are you a god or a divine being?" "No," answered the Buddha. "Are you a shaman or a sorcerer?" "No," answered the Buddha. "Are you a man?" "No," answered the Buddha. "Well then," the man said, "what are you?" The Buddha answered, "I am awake." And indeed, that's what Buddha means, the awakened one. Of course, Buddha is not alone in this designation. Others who share this title of awakened one include Jesus, Krishna, and Lao Tzu. I'm focusing on these four awakened ones primarily because I have a nifty little book that compares the sayings attributed to them and shows how parallel their ideas were in their various times and cultures. Jesus and Buddha are the only two in this grouping that are likely to have been historical figures. Krishna is the mythical incarnation of Ishvara, a personal deity who is the emanation of the Hindu godhead. And Lao Tzu, a name that means old master, is not considered to be an actual person, with the Tao Te Ching believed to have been written anonymously. These four figures are avatars, the embodiment or personification of a principle, attitude, or a view of life. Richard Hooper, in his book, Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, and Lao Tzu, The Parallel Sayings, writes, "Even though these teachers represent four very different world religions, I believe their teachings have a great deal in common. Could it be that their teachings represent four slightly different paths to the same destination? Each of these masters claimed that their teachings came from personal experience of ultimate reality. So we might expect their teachings to be similar. Certainly their teachings carry the weight of authority in our day as well as theirs." Having laid the groundwork of the four paths of awakening, wonder, emptiness, making, and coming home, let us learn from these awakened ones, these avatars of compassion. Each of these awakened masters speaks of the way, not as a single path, but as all paths leading to the same destination. The way stretches out before us, endless. It leads beyond the horizon, yet it begins with a single step. Learning to live in the way, well, we must learn to get out of the way, to go with the flow. If we want inner peace and outer harmony in society, we have to learn not to push the river. So listen to these similarities as these avatars describe the way. Jesus. Judas asked Jesus, "How do we find the way?" Jesus answered, "By developing love and compassion." From the Gnostic writings, Dialogue of the Savior. Krishna. Those who find the way are those who have love and forgiveness in their hearts. From the Bhagavad Gita. Buddha. No one can understand the way unless they have pure hearts. The Dhammapada. Lao Tzu. The perfect man is one whose sins are forgiven. He becomes one with the way. The Tao Te Ching. But what do they have to say about God or universal mind? What do these avatars have to say about the ground of our being? Jesus. Before that which is became visible, all things existed in him. He holds all things within himself, but nothing holds him. From the Gnostic writings, the Sophia of Jesus Christ. Krishna. Before he manifested himself, he existed within himself. Out of himself, he manifested all things. He is known as the one who alone exists. The Taittiriya Upanishad. Buddha. The Lord Buddha cannot be seen in visible form, nor can he be heard in audible sound. Those who lead evil lives cannot perceive the Blessed One. The Diamond Sutra. Lao Tzu. The great Tao, the way, pervades all things and causes all things to come into existence. The Tao Te Ching. I think it is useful to remind us of the gap in geography, culture, and time among these avatars. Jesus' teachings, whether those captured in the Gnostic writings or in the Orthodox canon, began to be circulated in a written form in about the year 70 of the Common Era. The Upanishads and the Tao Te Ching date back to the 6th century before the Common Era, and Buddhism's earliest texts date back to around the 1st century before the Common Era. Geographically, we are talking about India, China, the Middle East, in a time before any useful mass communications or even Google Maps. It's helpful to consider, as we look at these parallel sayings, that these avatars did not belong to a club where they got together and compared notes. Although there have been various theories about Jesus traveling to Tibet to learn from the Eastern masters during the mysterious years of his youth and young adulthood, neither Buddhism nor Hinduism had arrived in Tibet at the time Jesus lived. There is something larger at work here. These avatars were encountering ultimate reality and becoming awakened ones. Of course, they didn't just speak of otherworldly matters. Here is some of their enlightened thinking about the relationship with wealth. Jesus. Do not store up for yourselves earthly possessions, which moths and rust can destroy, and robbers can steal. Rather, store up heavenly treasures which cannot be destroyed or stolen. For wherever your heart is, there is your treasure as well. From the Gospel according to Matthew. Krishna. The desire for wealth cannot bring happiness. Instead, anxiety results from the desire to keep it. Wealth creates dissatisfaction, and the loss of it is like death. Those who seek wealth only increase their desires. From the Santaparva Mahabharata. Buddha. One buries treasure in the belief that it will be needed in the future. It is far better to act with charity and goodness. One who controls himself builds up hidden treasure that no thief can steal. The Kudaka Partha Sutra. Lao Tzu. A wealthy man can never be at peace, even if he owns mansions full of gold and jewels. Then he has to guard his wealth against theft. In the end, this will destroy him. The Tao Te Ching. There are enough parallel sayings between these awakened ones to fill a book. If you are someone who enjoys a good puzzle, this kind of parallel patterning can be fun and enlivening. But aside from having some interesting conversation material for your next Zoom party, what can we take from these ideas and observations? I propose these takeaways. These avatars of awakening and compassion were not born different or special, no matter what the origin stories may say. They were, or represent, ordinary human seekers who followed the paths of wonder, emptiness, making, and coming home. They encountered ultimate reality, and it changed them. They tried to share their insights with others, but like the finger pointing to the moon, all others could see was the finger, their lives and words, and they never followed the trajectory of where that finger was pointing to ultimate reality. Once awakened, there was no turning back. There is no story of a Buddha-like character who seeks enlightenment, finds it, and then turns it down. Even when the awakening made it impossible to live the ordinary life in the ordinary way, because you can't unwake up. Here are some thoughts about awakening from the awakened ones. Jesus. When life's trials are at an end and one is awakened, everything appears differently. This is attained by those who have overcome ignorance through knowledge. They have realized that life is no more than a dream. From the Gnostic writings, The Gospel of Truth. Krishna. Those who go beyond religion and seek me, the self, cross over the illusion to me. The Bhagavad Gita. Buddha. If wakefulness is always maintained, then dreams pass away naturally. When the mind ceases to discriminate, all things become as one. The Buddha. And Lao Tzu. The mind which has attained wisdom and peace becomes a mirror of all creation. Chuang Tzu. And so I ask, are you awake? Thank you for joining us in worship today. Please see the credits at the end of this service for information about the music and other worship elements. And do take a moment to visit our website, uuamherst.org, and click on the giving link, or text your gift to 833-987-1968. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Travel light and travel easy, till I see you once again. Travel light and travel easy, and remember I'm your friend. May you be happy and healthy, loved and loving, courageous and strong. May you know peace and joy, and may you share the light of love in a dark and hurting world. Amen. Ashe. Blessed be.